What's going on, y'all? Long time no see. Had to take a couple weeks off after the NFL draft finished. I'm someone that goes live every single day from December till the day of the draft, so it was a long 5 months for me. Needed a couple weeks off, but we are now back. And today I'm going to do a updated look at the Miami Dolphins depth chart and do my 53-man projection. Is this the last one? No, I'll probably do three or four more of these throughout the offseason. But as of right now, this is how I feel, and this is how I would construct the roster. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Starting off with, unfortunately, the cuts, but obviously they had to be made. I'm going to do the cuts, the practice squad, and the full entire roster, even the special teams. So this is legit a 53 man, and I did something with everybody under roster for the Dolphins. So let's get into it. Starting off, UDFA running back Anthony Hankerson. I think you probably keep one of the UDFA running backs. I went with Le'Veon Moss, has the connection with Achan, and overall, I think he's just more likely to make team. Hankerson has some real athleticism concerns, so I went with Moss. Terrace Marshall Jr. Man, I really thought Terrace Marshall would end up being good at the end of NFL level when he was coming out of LSU. Really hasn't been that way, really, his whole entire career. Me personally, definitely not making my top six wide receivers. Didn't want to keep him as a veteran spot on the practice squad. Also, real quick, practice squad, you get 16 spots plus an international spot. You can fill six of those 16 with veterans. He was not someone that I was prioritizing keeping. So we went ahead and cut Terrace Marshall Jr. along with wide receiver AJ Henning. Shout out AJ Henning. I like his TikToks. I like the fact he makes content and kind of gives you an inside look at the NFL. I don't think he probably makes the roster. Same thing with Donovan McCulley, the UDFA. So those are my three wide receiver cuts. Tight end only had one, Cole Turner. I believe Cole Turner spent some time with Washington. At least that's where I picture him at. He could end up making the roster, I guess. I mean, there's not a lot of competition. It's um Oh my God, it's Greg Dulcich, it's Will Kazmarek, it's Ben Sims, who's familiar with the Packers scheme, it's rookie Seydou Traore, and then it's Cole Turner. Cole Turner was the only tight end I decided not to keep on the roster. Offensive line. You got Kevin Klein, Carter Warren, both tackles slash guards, mainly tackles though. Braden Daniels is a primarily interior type of player, but mainly guard. And Josh Prebe, same thing, guard. Not enough room. I kept 9 offensive linemen, spoiler, and a couple on the practice squad. I didn't really see a need to keep these guys, so I cut them. Defensive line, Keith Cooper Jr., Rodney McGraw. Excuse me, my apologies. Just not enough room for those guys. Two UDFAs. I don't really see a world where they, unless they shock some people, where they make the roster. Off the edge, this is probably the most notable cut out of everybody on the screen would be Cameron Good, who has been with the Dolphins for what, I want to say 3 or 4 years now as a special teams player. In my opinion, like the edge room just is not good enough to keep primarily dominant special teams players at that position. Like he by far is to me the least talented out of the top 5 or 6 edge rushers. Just not someone I'm interested into keeping. He has had no impact actually on the defense side of the ball. And honestly, everybody talks about, at least Dolphin fans, oh man, such a great special teams player, so good on special. I don't see it. Like I really don't. I feel like when the biggest mistakes happen, Cam Good is normally involved in the mistake, and it's very clear that he missed something. So I really don't think he's that good of a football player in general, even as a special teamer. So someone I definitely do not want to keep on the team. Seth Coleman, UDFA, I believe, just probably not going to make the roster. I don't even know a whole lot about him. Jackson Woodard, it's a very good linebacker room. Didn't really have a lot of interest in keeping him along for the ride. Ethan Robinson had a nasty preseason interception against the Lions last year, one-handed snag. Just someone I don't really see making the roster, though. I'm glad they kept him. And also, I guess 6 cuts they made. The notable ones to me was Derek McClendon off the edge, who I thought's better than Cam Good, and maybe a couple of the other guys. I thought he had a shot at making the roster. They said no, so be it. In Isaiah Johnson, the cornerback, who was really good in the preseason. He just tore his ACL last year, and I guess he's maybe still recovering, and they didn't have the roster space for him clearly, so they could let him go. AJ Green the third, not the AJ Green. Obviously, this one's a corner, and he's not 6'5", but AJ Green, I just don't see a world where he makes the roster or where I want to hold him on the practice squad. Miles Battle, same thing. Jordan Colbert is an interesting one. Linebacker moved to safety, I believe, or maybe safety moved to linebacker. One of the two, I can't remember, but hybrid player, clearly. He's like 30 years old. The Dolphins are rebuilding. I don't really see a world where he is retained. Omar Brown, I believe, is a UDFA. Don't see him making the team. And probably up there with Cam Good, the most notable cut was Zane Gonzalez. It's a kicker competition, Zane Gonzalez and Riley Patterson. Patterson was really good for us last year, and he might not have a big leg, but he's very accurate. He had the most accurate kicking season for any Dolphin kicker ever. So I would personally keep Riley Patterson. Andy knows how to kick in Miami already. All right, but those are going to be my cuts. Let's talk about my 17-man practice squad. That should give you a hint of where a certain player is. Let's look at it. Starting off, quarterback. I ended up rolling with three quarterbacks, obviously, with the emergency third. I decided to, spoiler, keep Cam Miller over Mark Gronowski, the Iowa quarterback. He's a rookie. I feel like nobody's going to steal him off your practice squad. I think Cam Miller as a prospect was just better in general. So I went with Miller, but it's really a toss up for that third spot. Donovan Edwards, the Michigan second year man. I tossed him on the practice squad. Didn't decide to keep too many running backs. I don't want to give too many spoilers. But yeah, Donovan Edwards and Le'Veon Moss, both Moss a rookie. And also, if you do not know, with the whole veteran thing, veteran is 3+ years of experience. So first and second year players can go on the practice squad, and it doesn't go towards the veteran. So that's why I kept a lot of second year players on the practice squad. Theo Weiss really hurt my soul to end up not keeping as the top six. That's why I'm so confused why they drafted three rookie receivers. I love Kevin Coleman. I love Chris Bell, obviously coming off that torn ACL. Maybe Theo Weiss makes the roster if Bell starts on IR or something. But Theo Weiss is such a good player, in my opinion. I would like to see him make the team. I really would. I'd even cut Tutu Atwell potentially, but I just don't think that's all too realistic. You already have such a young receiver room, so maybe you feel like you can keep him on the practice squad and get away with it. Maybe someone steals him. That's part of the game, though, and I don't really see him being prioritized. And I mean, it's such a toss up. I know I said it's my 53. I do understand why they would keep Tutu instead. Taj Washington, I have no interest in. Like, through 2 years, he's been hurt a lot. He played really one game against the Ravens. He fumbled his first career catch, which was a detriment in that game. I just really have no interest in bringing Taj back, but he is definitely good enough to be on a practice squad. If someone stole him, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. He does count towards a veteran since it will be his third year. Jalen Conyers, I liked a lot, and I had high hopes for Mike McDaniel's system. Maybe if Sloak's system is familiar enough, Conyers can be a nice little project and potentially even be your third tight end or fourth if you carry four on the roster. I decided not to, so Conyers ends up on the practice squad. Keon Smith, versatile offensive lineman, he's really not that good. If someone stole him, once again, I wouldn't lose sleep, so tossed him on the P squad. Jim Bonifa is the rookie UDFA interior player, I believe, primarily a center, but can play guard. Tossed him on just for some more offensive line depth on the practice squad. Then, yes, like I said, the international player is Seydou Traore. I believe every team gets one of these spots. The Dolphins have already filed for him to be accepted for it. So I would imagine the project he is. I don't know if this is protected from like practice squad stealing. I imagine it's not. But I mean, I felt fine about tossing him on the practice squad and not really worrying about someone stealing him. I mean, he was the 180th pick, but I think he's so severely underdeveloped, I don't really see anyone taking him from you. Alex Huntley is not a veteran defense tackle, but he is a second year player, so decided to keep him for some depth. If you want to keep Keith Cooper, I mean, okay, like it's really not that big of a deal to me. Max Llewellyn, I really wanted to get on the 53 man because he had size off the edge. I didn't really want to cut David Ajabo, who is the last person that gets the spot on the actual active roster. Ajabo, I feel like, does have the upside that I want to mess around with and really find out what he might be able to do if he can stay healthy. Now, if Ojabo gets hurt over the offseason again, the story of his career, then cut him. Oh well, keep Max. But I decided to roll with Ajabo for now. Mason Reiger, the UDFA out of Wisconsin, I'm very intrigued by him. I think he could potentially make the roster. So if you only do keep five edge rushers like I did, spoiler, I would love to retain both these players on the practice squad, and hopefully they are not stolen from me. Ronnie Harrison Jr. was another veteran I decided to keep, linebacker safety hybrid. I felt pretty good about tossing him on the practice squad and saying, hey, he's safe. Nobody's going to mess with him. He's a good hybrid backup to have if something happens to like Tyrell Dodson or something happens to Kyle Lewis, would be the best example to have him elevated to the roster. Storm Duck, second year player out of UNC. I decided to keep, definitely was not prioritizing keeping him on the main roster, but I do like Storm Duck a good bit, so I did go ahead and keep him on the practice squad, and hopefully he is not stolen. Marco Wilson, I'm really starting to become a big fan of Marco Wilson. He has posted multiple videos, like his dream was to play for the Dolphins. He's finally here. I really hope it works out and he can make it. But as an older player, I would guess you'd probably try to develop some younger corners. And Marco, it's not like he's had a ton of success as a pro. So I think another guy you can toss on your practice squad as a veteran, and that'd be okay. Ethan Bonner, another veteran corner. Everyone loves Ethan Bonner because he's a white corner. He's not the best player in the world, so I didn't keep him. Lewis Moore, I am very intrigued by the safety out of Indiana. I think he could be a sneaky guy to potentially make this roster because of how bad the safeties are. I played it safe, tossed him on the practice squad, but yes, those are all the cuts in practice squad. Now we can speed this up a little bit and go through my official 53 man as of March 6th, not August 6th or August 26th, whatever, September 6th, March 6th. So this is going to change a lot, especially as I see how these guys are working out and who's better, and that'll change the roster. But starting off with quarterbacks, we kept three. QB1 Malik Willis, that is set in stone. He's making so much money, not really this year, but next year. So he's going to be on the team, I'd bet, 2 years. And I mean, he probably just by far is the most talented quarterback you have. So Malik Willis, the one, Quinn Ewers, the two, Cam Miller, the three. I'm cool with this. Running back. This might surprise some people. I did the same thing as last year. I only kept three running backs. I think with these three running backs and a fullback, which you'll kind of see who my fullback is in a sense. Yeah, just time out, wait on me for a second. Devon Achane's a superstar. Just flat out, he might break the record for most money, most guaranteed money, whatever, for a running back in NFL history this offseason over the summer. So watch out for that. And then Bijan and Jameer Gibbs might break that as well, unless they get paid first. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the best playmakers in the league. He's going to get your majority of the bulk really every game. Jalen Wright can do some similar things in a sense of, hey, once I hit the hole, like I'm gone. You're not catching me. So another speed back behind Devon Achane that can play the role. Then obviously Ollie Gordon is your power back as the three. So the same as last year, I didn't really want to waste a running back spot on Donovan Edwards, Le'Veon Moss, or Anthony Henderson. So I'm rolling with three. All right, wide receivers. Big change up. I believe last year, maybe the year before, we only kept four. We need to keep six. We need more wide receivers. That was evident when Tyreek Hill went down. That was evident when Jalen Waddle would leave games frequently. You need more receivers. In my opinion, the best receiver in this room by far is Chris Bell. It's not even close. I mean, Chris Bell was a bona fide first round talent, looked at as a top 20 pick, top 25 pick, excuse me. Then he tore his ACL. Stuff happens. He's not injury prone. Once this dude is healthy, I guarantee you he will be the wide receiver one in Miami. My number two is Jalen Tolbert. Just a consensus good, no, not consensus, but consistent good third option for the Cowboys, other than Pickens and CD, and then CD and Brandon Cooks, and so on and so forth. Tolbert has just been really reliable. You can count on him when you go to him. I like the thought of Tolbert starting on the other side of Chris Bell or Caleb Douglas when and if Bell is not ready to go at the beginning. Malik Washington's your slot receiver, definitely like 100% to me. He definitely is your slot. So good after the catch. Such a good punt and kick returner. One of the more underrated weapons in the league. Like, I know he won't really shock you in the stat category or, oh, yeah, two catches for 25 yards. This dude is by far up there with like Chimere Dike and others as potentially the best special team returner in the league. And I truly do mean that. So, such a great weapon to have on your special teams. You got to keep him, and I don't even think it's a question. Tutu Atwell, I put as the four, just a veteran that I think will come along a lot quicker. Caleb Douglas, and Tutu's obviously a big down the field threat speed option, not a big guy at all, like 5'9, 170, maybe even 165. So a very undersized receiver, but a weapon with the ball in his hands, and definitely a weapon vertical. Caleb Douglas, like, Truth be told, I'm really not the biggest fan. I'm starting to watch the workout clips and go back, watch tape a little bit more, and I'm like, okay, I see the upside of your hoping. I guess this is like your long-term MVS, a big-time field stretcher that can also be physical with you on the outside. I just think his game's not all there yet. He does have good twitch for how big he is, being what, 6'3", 6'4", 215 pounds. But yeah, I mean he's just a true boundary option that is big and fast. So I don't know. I feel like it's pretty easy for those guys not to work out. He doesn't have a lot more to his game right now. And Kevin Coleman, in my opinion, like Kevin Coleman's my favorite wide receiver in this room. I'm not saying he's the best, but like y'all know how high I was on Kevin Coleman. I thought Kevin Coleman was better than Deion Burks. I thought Kevin Coleman was better than Antonio Williams, Brennan Thompson. Like I love Kevin Coleman's game to death. He is such a weapon with the ball in his hands. He's so good after the catch. You're not going to get him down on the first tackle, and he's got good hands. So Kevin Coleman's someone I'd be like watching out if you're a dynasty fantasy player. I'd be picking Kevin Coleman in the third, fourth round of your drafts consistently because this room is wide open. But I think there's a lot of versatility. You got three big receivers with Bell, Tolbert, Douglas. You got three very fast receivers with Atwell, Coleman, and Washington. You got two yak receivers with, or really three with Bell, Washington, and Coleman. So a dynamic receiving room, even though it's obviously probably still one of the worst in the league on paper. All right, tight end only kept three, and here we'll talk about Greg Dulcich first because, and I wish I could have got a Dolphin picture, but none of them would have worked. I don't know why, but yeah, Greg Dulcich is a very good receiving tight end. He's a okay blocker. He's not going to wow you as a blocker, but he can really win up the seam, and that was evident down the stretch for the Dolphins at the end of the year. And I think his biggest problem has always been being healthy. So if Dulcich can stay healthy, he can get 600 yards next year easily. Will Kazmarek, the tight end out of Ohio State, a blocking tight end. He really isn't going to wow you as a pass catcher, really at all. Granted, he didn't drop the ball a lot, but he's not a refined route runner. He's not a great contested catch player. He's going to make his money as a pro, as a blocker. So I think that can make for some fun formations where you get Kazmarek in the backfield with Achan and just have Achan follow him. I mean, he is by far, to me, the second best blocker behind Sam Roosh, who went to the Bears in the entire draft. Ben Sims, I kept him another blocking tight end, which is fine. I don't think you need another really receiving pass catcher. Your offense is going to function through the run game, so two tight ends that can block at a good level, that's fine. And Sims is a good special teams player. All right, to the offensive line, kept 9 players, and I mean, it's pretty clear what I did. Starting off, Patrick Paul is your cornerstone at left tackle. So good last year. Took a massive second-year jump, and I expect him to build off that. Caden Proctor, I feel like I made it very clear on my TikTok, my draft reaction, whatever. Not the player I would have taken personally, but I understand the upside, the overall athleticism, the size, being 6'7", 350 pounds. My thing is, like, if Proctor strikes gold as a guard, you're not going to try him at tackle next year. I highly doubt you'd move him if he's really good as a guard. But then, like, Vega Ioane was there, so you could have just had a for sure good guard if the plan was always to play him at left guard. So I don't know. We'll see. Caden Proctor's got a lot of upside. I think long term they want him to play right tackle, and I understand that they wanted multiple position flexibility. So I understand it, and we're rebuilding, so his age really is a good thing for us. I just really worry if it's not going to click for him. But and the bright spot would be Aaron Brewer and Patrick Paul are your two best offensive linemen, and that's who he's playing in between. Aaron Brewer, for my money, is the best center in football. Like, I really don't need to talk about him. He's an elite run blocker. He's elite at climbing the second level. He's one of the most athletic centers. He's got a good anchor. He doesn't really get bullied by bigger D tackles, even though he's like 285, 290 pounds. Aaron Brewer's phenomenal. Jonah Savaiinaya, I like the fact he is going back to the right side of the offensive line. I thought it was idiotic for Mike McDaniel in the offense. Oh, not even the offense. Mike McDaniel, who put him at left guard, even though that was really the only spot he never played before in college. So I'm happy to see Jonah back at the right guard spot, and I do believe he is the most talented guard on roster for that competing spot. Austin Jackson, hopefully he can stay healthy. I'm not banking on it. I think there's a real world where you see a lot of Jamari Sawyer, DJ Campbell, and you see Caden Proctor at right tackle because Austin Jackson has proven time over time he is a liability. Charlie Heck is a good backup swing tackle. I think he's definitely better than Keon Smith, so I kept him as the versatile sixth swing tackle. Jamari Sawyer, I kept as a versatile guard slash swing tackle. So if it gets dire and you need someone to step out, Sawyer can do that, but he also can start games on the interior. DJ Campbell to me is going to be a guard through and through. And Andrew Meyer looked like a really good backup center for the one game he stepped up in replace of Aaron Brewer being out. I mean, the man had to play Vita Vea, and he played great the whole game. So I really like Andrew Meyer's game a ton, and I think he's one of the better backup centers in football. That's going to be my offense. Let's talk about the defensive line, starting off with six interior defensive linemen, starting off Zach Sealer. I really am starting to get the feeling Zach Sealer is not a part of their long-term plans like a Jordan Brooks or Aaron Brewer. I think Zach Sealer might be traded either after June 1st because of the money, obviously, or at the trade deadline. But for now, Zach Sealer's a Dolphin, and he definitely still, to me, is the best defensive lineman on the team by far, even though he had a down year. But I hope Zach can bounce back with a better defense coordinator. Kenneth Grant. You're really hoping Kenneth Grant can make a second year jump. Hopefully, now that he's back in his college number, 78. Ugh, hate it. 90 was way better, but to each their own. You're hoping Kenneth Grant can take a jump. He's definitely going to start. Then Jordan Phillips. Really, Kenneth Grant, Jordan Phillips, and Zeke Biggers can all play nose tackle. So I just gave Phillips the tag of nose tackle because I believe that's where he'll probably play the most nose out of the three. But Jordan Phillips was elite as a rookie last year. Not elite in the sense of a top 10 defense tackle in the league, but for rookie standards, I'd say he's one of the top 5 to 10 best defensive players in the draft last year. So it looks like he struck gold. Such a good run defender, so nasty, high motor. I'm excited about Jordan Phillips going forward. Zeke Biggers, second year player, 6'6, like 330, 340 pounds, big monster on the interior, good depth, good size. Matthew Butler, I could see a world where you cut Matthew Butler just because he is a veteran player and what's the upside when you're in a deep rebuild. But then again, having good veterans can be valuable. And Matt Butler's been around the league for a while. He's like 30, 31. He's still playing at a solid level for a backup. So I would keep him. Then UDFA Reen Conga, who met with the Dolphins a couple times throughout the offseason and was the top 30 visit. I think he is going to make the roster. I was shocked he went as a UDFA in the draft. I like Green's game a lot. He's very explosive, very powerful, even for being 290 pounds, one of the better pass rushers in the draft. Just plays with bad leverage, but if you fix that leverage and just develop him in the shadows, you might have something long term. All right, edge rusher wise, I decided to keep five, and in my opinion, probably behind safety, this is your worst group on roster. I'm not excited about this at all. You hope Chop can take a year three jump, especially with like I said, a better defense coordinator. And I like Anthony Weaver a lot, but he definitely wasn't an edge rusher or a defense lineman's best friend in terms of their production at all. It was like he gave up a lot of the quick stuff, didn't really allow for the pass rushers to get home. So Chop, you're hoping takes a year three jump with Jeff Affley, of course. If not, he's probably out of Miami. Josh Uche has been a good, reliable veteran for the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Eagles. I like Josh Uche's game. I think he'll be a good. I mean, what sucks is you have a lot of DPRs like Chop Robinson, Josh Uche, even like Trey Moore at this point, probably in his development and overall lack of size. Like no one outside of probably Robert Beal can defend the run all that well, so that's why I kept Robert Beal as my third guy. But it's just a bunch of misfits toys that really haven't panned out in the NFL outside of obviously Trey Moore and Chop. I mean, even Chop like hasn't panned out. He looked really good in the second half of the season as a rookie, but his second year kind of sucked if we're being honest. So I don't know. Trey Moore is also a high motor player for Texas. It wasn't a pick that I really am excited about, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like his attitude and the way he plays, even being 240 pounds. He doesn't play like he's 240. I just really think teams are going to have a field day running the ball on the Miami Dolphins next year. I'd be shocked if we didn't give up right top 5 rushing yards in the league, especially when you go to the outside where the edge rushers are. So these are the 5 I kept. Bunch of misfits that landed in Miami. Hopefully you can strike gold on 1 or 2 of them. And when I say gold, I mean like a good, reliable player, not even a superstar. All right, linebacker, I kept 4. And pause. Pump your brakes for a second. Kyle Lewis, you're an idiot. I just don't have him listed as a linebacker. I promise you he made the 53. So just give me a second and I'll explain. But your starting 2 middle linebackers to me is going to be Jordan Brooks and Jacob Rodriguez. I think Jacob Rodriguez has a real shot to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. You saw Carson Swessinger do it last year, so it's not like unknown for a linebacker to do it. And I mean, he's just a obvious pro ready player. I mean, the whole reason the Dolphins took him, even despite his age, because he's 24, and they said, "Hey, we're trying to go young this year." Jeff Halfley literally said it on Richard Sherman's show or podcast. He was like, "We just had no idea how he was still available. Like we thought this was someone that'd be going before our second first round pick. So the fact he made it to us again, it was just a sign, and it was a sign. I mean, Jacob Rodriguez, for my money, is the second best linebacker in this draft, only behind Sonny Styles, who is a otherworldly type of talent. My number two player in the class, but Jacob Rodriguez was a first round grade for me. He's a turnover machine. He forced 10 this past season. He tore up the Senior Bowl. He forced turnovers there. He tore up the combine. The dude is just a machine, and it makes no sense how he made it to 43, but I am very grateful he did. Tyrell Dotson is a good blitzing linebacker, doesn't offer much in coverage, and Willie Gay is like an edge linebacker hybrid. And if Willie can be used in the right role, like man, he can be a very effective player for your football team. I just don't know how Willie Gay destroyed all of training camp last year for the Dolphins and even the joint workouts, and then he just never played at all for whatever reason. I don't get it. I'm excited he was brought back though, and I have high hopes he can be an effective linebacker edge hybrid for us. But the linebackers might be the best strength on the team up there with running back, in my opinion. I mean, you have a fantastic duo and a pretty good four in general. All right, let's go to the corners. I decided to keep six, but as you can see, one of them isn't really a corner, but he kind of is. Let's talk about it. Chris Johnson, your first round pick out of San Diego State, was, as y'all know, one of my favorite players, my number 18 player in the entire class. My overall CB3, only behind Mansour Deline and Jermod McCoy. I was ecstatic when we got Chris Johnson at the back end of the first. I think he definitely will start for you full time. Juju Brents was very good for the Dolphins when he was starting last year. It's been the same song and dance with Juju Brents his whole career. Season-ending injury in Indianapolis, another one in Indianapolis. Then he's released. Then he comes here. Then he looks good. Oh, season-ending injury. It's definitely not a player you can rely on, but when he is healthy and right, he's definitely a starting caliber corner in the NFL and definitely on this Dolphins depth chart. So I have Brents as your other boundary guy. Then I have Kyle Lewis in the nickel. If you don't know, Kyle Lewis is a jack of all trades. He can play linebacker, he can play safety, he can play nickel. His coverage skills are so damn good, and he's only 220 pounds to begin with. I think he can be a very effective nickel that can blitz a ton for you, because obviously he brings that to the table as well. Maybe you start him at safety because of how bad your safeties are. He's a chess piece. He can be used anywhere. He kind of reminds me of a heavier Javon Bullard for Jeff Halfley's defense. He's just 20 pounds heavier than Bullard. So I'm excited about Kyle Lewis, and I think overall I'd probably start him in the nickel to begin with. Daryl Baker Jr. Spent some time with the Titans. Looked solid for the Titans when he had to step up because of injury and start because L'Jarius Sneed really never even played for the Titans. But he had his ups, he had his downs. I think he certainly makes the roster. He's a good athlete, can start on the boundary or in the nickel. Same thing with Jason Marshall Jr., who I'm looking forward to seeing if he progresses going into year two, because he really came along down the back stretch of his end of his rookie season, had a nice pick against Tampa. So Jason Marshall could potentially be your starting nickel if Kyle Lewis is playing elsewhere. And then Alex Austin, I kept just such a great special teams player. His time in New England, like elite on special teams. I'm very excited he was brought in. So sole reason he made the roster, special teams impact, but also can play in the nickel if you need him to. All right, to end off with four safeties in the special teams, I have Dante Trader Jr. and Michael Taff as the starters. Like I said, this room is terrible. I would be looking to add veteran. Lonnie Johnson Jr. is a vet, but not one I'm very excited about. And then Zane Anderson makes the team for special teams purposes, pretty much what Elijah Campbell has been making the roster for. So it's by far the worst. It's the worst unit on the team, and it's not even close. I really worry about this. That's why I think having Kyle Lewis at safety could be pretty effective. If there's a veteran safety that I can't think of floating out there that you can get for a cheap 1 year deal once you get some money after June 1st, maybe you try that. I don't know. As of right now, it's not looking great. Taff is also a good special teams player I want to mention, but not great. Then special teams, we obviously got kicker, punter, long snapper, and this has pretty much been decided. Like I said, it was on me to decide between Riley Patterson and Zane Gonzalez. I like that Patterson's already kicked at a high level in Miami before. I kept Patterson. Bradley Pinion and Tucker Addington, it looks like already won the punter and long snapper roles once Seth Vernon and Taylor Pepper were released earlier this week. So yeah, I think that's probably your special teams. Then, like I said, Malik Washington, primary starter. Kevin Coleman can also do it. And just real quick, because I never counted before the video, we did have 53, right? 3, 6, 12, 15, 24, 30, 35, 39, 45, 49, 50, 51, 52. Damn, I gave you a 52-man roster. Real quick. If that is the case, I would probably also keep Max Llewellyn. I'd be worried about him potentially getting picked up by someone else. So Max Llewellyn, maybe even Lewis Moore could make the safety room. You could also toss in Keon Smith as a 10th offensive lineman. That'd be fine to me. But yeah, I mean, uh, if you want to keep Donovan Edwards or Le'Veon Moss, like I said, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, that is going to be my 52-man roster. My mistake. But yeah, y'all let me know what you think about it in the comments, and let me know who you would keep that I did not keep, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.